Well, it is just coming up to 8:15 on Thursday the 24th of April, which means it is on Air Acoustic time. And unlike last week, tonight we have guests in the studio. So welcome into the studio, MeU or me plus you, one of them. Patrick, tell me more about it.
Capital M, small e, equals U, a big U, as in capital U. Not Y-O-U, but U. Thank you very much, Chris, for inviting us here. We're really happy to be on Vibe 107.6.
Yes, I love that.
And I'd like to introduce Rufus Miller.
Hey.
On the guitar.
On the guitar.
And welcome back to Dimitri.
Oh, thank you.
On the bass.
This time,
Yes.
Yeah, this time.
Yes, yeah.
They're both multi-instrumentalists, and very fortunate that, their rock history is as long as your arm. They've been playing, almost as much as I've been. And, that's why we're tight.
I love that. How did MeU start? Let's go to the name of it first, because it is a really cool name. Like, I've not had one like this on Air Acoustic, which is me equals you. So how did it all come about? Why did you want to do it like that?
Well, we're all the same, and one of the things about me is that I like to create, and a lot of like other people, you, for example, Chris, you like to create.
Mm-hmm.
And so in our collaborations, let's say, then we have that equality and to express ourselves freely and create something. And in all of the all, so to speak, MeU is a universal subset of, stardust, because that's what we all are.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, 10 billion years ago, in the trail of a comet, a little spark hit this earth, and next thing you know, life. And me being me, and you being you, and the collaborations that we can do, that equality of all.
That is probably one of the best answers I've ever had to a question.
Hey.
I absolutely love that.
Well, we share the care, and kind of like Rufus, our musical journey, 10 years or more, our friendship 20 years or more, and Dimitri, we come on board a couple years ago, and we have a certain fusion and a relaxation when we create the music that the listening audience are going to hear.
Well, do you know what? Let's actually hear your first song. I think let's go straight into it. Let's have one of your first songs. What are you going to kick off with?
We're going to kick off with The Artiste. And this is for all of you out there in the listening audience, whether you play an instrument or, acting, any ambition to be anything, to create. This is dedicated to all of you who do what we do.
Love that.
They say all of my tomorrows await me. And yet, they may never come. So we live for today and do what we do. We're starving painters, thirsty poets, mad musicians, underpaid actors, flogging dead horses, bearing crosses, fighting lost causes. Quit short, a day late, drinking from an eternal glass of sorrows, mixed with modern day horrors. Busy going nowhere, trying to get somewhere, anywhere. Struggle, strive, survive. And though the road is long, and the sun may be low upon the horizon. There's still a ways to go before we cross those stage lights, to dance in the shadow of the trees and await all of our tomorrows, 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 in a world without sorrow, sorrow, sorrow. Await all of our tomorrows. Busy going nowhere, trying to get somewhere, anywhere. Struggle, strive, survive, alive. And though the road is long, there's still a ways to go before we cross those stage lights, to dance in the shadows of the trees and wait all of our tomorrows, 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 in a world without sorrow, sorrow, tomorrow. We're just getting warmed up.
Oh my words! How could no one want to create in the world? That was like insane. I know, like, people listening to that only got half of how amazing that was. Like, to be in the studio right now, that was next level, guys.
Oh.
Like, that was, yeah. Wow.
Once we get going, you know, it's like I start listening to them playing, and yeah, we go someplace, and it's beautiful.
No, it really is beautiful, by the way. I just sat here, I was like, wow, like, this is it. This is it. What a moment for On Air Acoustic. What a moment.
Music heals.
Oh, yes. Hey, I've had quite a rough day today, and tell you now. Look at me now. How did you guys all get to sort of meet each other then? Like, what was all your musical journeys? Like, how did it all come about?
I met Patrick maybe about 18 years ago in a squat party in Peckham. Called the London to Brighton pub that got squatted.
Yeah.
And there were gigs in there, and I was playing with my band, and I met Patrick straight away, and you were like, let's collaborate. And it just took a minute. It wasn't until about 3 or 4 years ago that we were like, let's give it a proper go.
No way.
But we've been friends ever since then. So yeah, that's my story with you.
Yeah.
That's wild. So
and in that alternative venue called the London and Brighton, we had a radio show there, you know, every Wednesday night live.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then a good friend of ours, Hank Dog and the Easy Come crew, they come down after 11 from Nunhead, and all of a sudden the party would be reinvigorated with more music.
No.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm kind of a little bit jealous that I didn't really get to experience that, but I'd love to have been there.
There's other things to experience and give you that gratification, and you'll have those musical memories.
True that. Before, like, so how long has actually been, your band, MeU, been going?
The first incarnation since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been a long hiatus, you know, since I had my, other band. But yeah, 2019, I said, man, I gotta get me a band together. So, yeah, got a few musicians, and we started playing, and haven't stopped since. And some of those musicians have moved on to bigger and better things, so to speak. And I'm just happy to be part of their musical journey. But the journey goes on.
It does.
And here we are. And, we were doing a gig one night down in the Endeavour. This is a place in Deptford. And we were on the bill with the homosexuals.
Yeah, the Bruno Wizard from Bruno actually played in one of the first punk bands called The Rejects that was organized in London, also in Deptford in 1969. So I happened to play with Bruno for also 15 years.
No way.
So it was a mutual gig, and then we kind of we got along together, and and I remember you said maybe you might need a bass player. So and then we had a great jam, and you kind of gelled together. All together.
For sure, and that's how I met Dimitri. You know, we met him live. And they did a really, really good show, and like Dimitri said, I was like one bass player short. So, and then unfortunately Bruno had some health issues, and so we just carried over. And I said, come and jam with us, and if you like, if you like what you hear and you feel, so let's play. And we've been playing together ever since.
That is amazing. I absolutely love that. This is the one thing I love about On Air Acoustic is when you hear about how people form, because it's it can all be sort of samey, but then some people just come up with a story like you guys. It's just absolutely wild, and I love it. It's it's worthy of a Netflix film. Let's put it that way.
Think so. We have a missing member tonight. We have Brian Henderson, our drummer. It took me 12 years to get him out of retirement before he finally come back and started banging the drum again. And that was about two years ago. He came back into the band about the same time. Rufus started getting involved. I had this one song, we'll be playing it shortly, and I needed a top guitarist to help me figure out, and Rufus, I'd like to do that one now. And it's called
Katrina.
Absolutely. What's it called, sorry?
This one's called Katrina.
Katrina.
It's the environmental track.
Alright, well, I'm very excited, and I know probably everyone listening is very excited. So when you are guys, when you're ready for On Air Acoustic, take it away.
1, 2, 3.
They saw you coming, and somehow they didn't know. That GPS said so. They saw you coming, and somehow they didn't know. That wild wind which would blow. Oh, muddy Mississippi, roaring in her flow. And then the levees go, go, go. And then the levees go, go, go. Oh, Katrina, oh, Katrina, oh, Katrina. Where's my grandma? Where's my daughter? New Orleans, French Quarter, 20 feet underwater. Oh, Katrina, where's my grandma? Where's my daughter? In New Orleans, French Quarter, 20 feet underwater. At the Dome alone, they left us to wait, and for some, it was too late. In D.C. they slithered, the whole world watched as they dithered. And at the Dome alone, they left us to wait, and for some, it was too late, late, late. Home of the rumba, mamba, samba, me oh my oh, a little bit of jazz from everywhere, a little bit of jazz from everywhere. from everywhere, from everywhere. They saw you coming, and somehow they didn't know, and that wild wind which would blow. Oh, muddy Mississippi, roaring in her flow. Then the levees go, 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 go. New Orleans, home of the rumba, samba, mamba, a little bit of mayo, jazz from everywhere, jazz from everywhere. Oh, Katrina, oh, Katrina, oh, Katrina, where's my grandma? Where's my daughter? New Orleans, French Quarter, 20 feet underwater, 20 feet underwater. New Orleans.
I'm just glad you guys got together. Man. When I was listening to that song, because it seems like, when did that song get first released?
That got released with the album December 17th, 2024.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's when it got released, you know, in the album format.
Did you have that song all along, or is that a new song that you've written?
Well, very fortunate that we're over at the house jamming, me, Rufus, and Brian, and I said I got this song that, you know, I'd like to try out, you know, and then I started reciting it, and then Rufus started playing what you heard, and then we just took it from there and rehearsed it, played it live, you know, kind of, you know, polished it, got it ready, and then, you know, recorded it and released it.
Nice.
And this is the first time we've ever done it acoustic.
Oh, exclusive on Air Acoustic. I love it. I love it, guys. Thank you so much. What's it like then for you guys with the writing process? Because you're all kind of different in backgrounds, but weirdly you'd think that God, or, you know, the universe, whatever you kind of believe in, force out there, has just went, no, you guys are together. But, what is it like for your musical backgrounds, and then to kind of make it into MeU?
It's like Dimitri and Rufus are well accomplished composers in their own right. And they have their individual projects that are, you know, well, I'm a big fan of both.
Cheers, mate.
And when we're together, it's like, I'm mainly the lyricist and the singer, you know, and I come up with something, and then I share that with them, and then we go through it a few times, and then it usually takes 6 sessions, we'll call them, or 6 shows, or however, of doing the song. Like Katrina, for example, you know, I took about 4 or 5, you know, rehearsals, we'll call them live shows, and then we had it. You know, it's like, so that's part of our, you know, working methodology. Yeah.
That must be such a cool place to be when you guys are all rehearsing like that.
Yeah, I just, we have this type of thing where play what you feel. You know, what you hear what you hear, and you play what you feel, and then, you know, the majority, most of the time it fits. And then it just, you know, the more you play it, you know, kind of like it just rounds out, or you know, gets cutting edge, or, you know, it just feels natural.
But you're a poet as well, aren't you, Patrick?
Yeah, I do a bit of that.
Yeah, because I've not really met many people in this sort of what I've been doing for On Air Acoustic, not really met many poets. You know, you meet storytellers, you meet songwriters, but I've not actually really met any sort of poets. So I'm actually quite excited for this. I just want to know more about that kind of thing. How does it work for you then with your poetry, like, and songwriting?
Well, it's kind of like, it starts with the poem, and not all poems are singable. So then we take the poem and we make it singable. And sometimes what we have to do is, rearrange the words or supplement a singable word that means basically the same thing that it would mean poetically. So it's finding the singable poems. So they're kind of like songsters. There are songs, but you have that kind of like spoken word element in it. So you flow between singing and then delivering. But it's finding the singable words for the easy listening.
But it's a nice style, because there's loads of people that can sing, but then there's those that have kind of got their unique selling thing, haven't they? And that's what I'm quite excited for you guys with, like the whole poetry thing that goes into sort of the songwriting and the storytelling and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost like a triple threat.
It'd be quite hard to copy, Patrick, to do what you do. It can only be you. You found your own unique voice.
Yes, the fortune teller.
Yeah, and you're part of a scene that, really appreciates you and wants to lift you up,
This is like having that, the ebb and the flow. And that encouragement and collaborations. It's like when they're successful, they add up. So that becomes like its own little fire. That little kindling goes on there, and the little collaborations, and next thing you know, you have a bonfire.
Oh yeah.
So you can take a little bit of kindling and put it someplace else, and start that little spark for another, bunch of collaborations, and then you see people collaborating with each other and creating, and it only gives me let's do more. It's all about what's next.
Yes. But enjoying in that moment as well.
Yeah.
Because that's what people have told me. Because I'm like that. I'm like, what can I do now? What's the next thing? But I need to know to enjoy this moment that we are literally living right now.
Well, this is
I am.
this is a really beautiful moment, and it's a little acoustic session with vibe, and thank you, Chris. Really,
thank you guys.
Really,
honestly, thank you guys, because this is I'm sort of blown away right now. Just before we actually just go on to think, I just literally popped in, fortune teller.
Yeah.
Now, you kind of said it a little bit earlier, and you've snuck it in again there.
Yeah.
I want to know more about this fortune teller.
Yeah. Well, when I was young, my family, we went to the World's Fair, and it was in Queens, New York City. And it was a big deal, and when we were there, looking at all the exhibitions and experiencing, all the different, pavilions, from various places around the world, they had a boardwalk, and on the boardwalk they had a fortune teller, and if you paid a quarter, you could make a wish, or she'd give you a letter, So I was very fortunate to have a bunch of quarters that day, and I made some wishes, and we're going to sing one right now.
Ooh.
But one of them, one of the wishes I also made was about my accent. I asked the fortune teller if I could have her accent. And she looked at me and kind of sly with a smile. She said, "You asked." At the first ray of dawn, and the first note of bird song, you'll talk just like me through you. And the fortune teller, well, she got that right.
This is amazing.
So I'd like to share another one of the little fortune tellers. Another thing she got right. And this one, yeah, I dedicate this to everybody.
Nice,
Because we
love
all
that.
need a bit of fortune.
Yes, we do. All right, well, for On Air Acoustic, whenever you're ready, guys.
You want to count? Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was walking down the boardwalk, and the World's Fair is all around, round, round. It's Queens, New York City. It's 1964. The Unisphere, Unisphere, Unisphere. I walked up to the fortune teller, and I paid a quarter for a letter, and the letter she gave me was L, L, L. She asked me something that I liked, and I said lights, lights, lights. She asked me something that I disliked, and I said lies, lies, lies. She asked me someone that I knew, and I said Lorna Lane, Lorna Lane, Lorna Lane. She asked me somewhere I wanna be. She asked me somewhere I wanna be. She asked me somewhere I wanna be. And I said Las Vegas, Las Vegas, Las Vegas. She asked me something that I wanted. She asked me something that I wanted. She asked me something that I wanted. And I said, I want love. That's what I want. I want love. That's what I want. Love, 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 love. Well, that's what I want. I want love. I want love. I want love. Well, you know the fortune teller, well, she got that right. As we walked off into the night, love, that's what I want. Love, 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 love. That's what I want. I want love.
Well, you got a lot of love for me tonight. Because this is absolutely incredible. Wow.
Love is incredible. And don't fear love.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, it's the best thing that it's free.
Hey.
Free. We can't be taxed on it. It's the one thing they can't tax. and music, well, until you start making money, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys just must have such a good blast, man. What's it like gigging for you guys? Like, what do actually like live shows look like? Because it must be experience.
Great. and the audience seem to enjoy it. You know. Yeah, we got a good interaction with the audience, and Chris, I'll tell you one of the things. You know, we usually surprise them.
Nice. That's what it should be, right?
Oh yeah, this is it. You know, it's like. And they're not really sure what they're going to get. But most of the time they don't forget. And it's good because, yeah, you know, we can capture their imagination for those magic moments when they're there. Yeah. And, you know, for the most part, everybody's like, yeah, vibing and feeling good and happy, and, yeah, it's just a good atmosphere.
Yeah, sometimes we have like two bass players, so myself and another gentleman.
Jimmy.
Bo Keller.
Bo
yeah.
Keller, yes.
So there's, for example, I'll play a little bit of solo, and he plays more like a rhythm bass, and we have a sax player sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's quite nice to experiment here and there, and yeah.
Yeah.
So your band's quite open to things.
We can be, yeah. You know, yeah. It's like we've used piano players before, and they've worked out, you know, for the sessions, and you know, some saxophone, and yeah, we even tried another singer, you know, backing singer, you know, co-singer.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm like these guys when it comes to music. If it works, you know, let's do it. You know, let's try. Let's see what we hear, and for the most part, yeah, it usually sounds really good, and then there's that momentum that happens on stage between the drummer and the bass player and the guitarist and whoever else is with us. It's like, you know, it becomes a little hypnotic, so you know, among us.
Compared to most bands on the scene, we stand out because we're improvising. It's like, depending on who's on the stage, it's going to be different. It's never going to be the same twice.
So I was about to ask that.
It's just whatever we feel. Everyone listening to each other and having fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
Almost like a jam, but like a song.
That's what I was about to say.
But it's like it could go anyway.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Because it sounds like, it's like proper like flexible, fluid kind of thing, just sort of flowing.
That's it. Because sometimes these guys get, you know, they're going somewhere. You know, so I just like, you know, kind of like chill out and, you know, go with it. You know, until it comes around. That might take a couple of minutes, you know, sometimes, because it's just too good to interject, you know, or kind of like slow it down. You want it to follow through, and then it sweeps back in, kind of like almost natural, like you know, we get one comment all the time is that you guys are really tight, you know, and which is true, and even when we have like the saxophone player come and join us, or a keyboard player come and join us, we always get the same, you know, feedback. You know, you guys are really tight.
That's mad.
But it's like, it's that vibe that is created on stage. It's
collective energy.
Yeah. It's like,
I love that.
Because people call Patrick the godfather of the Southeast London scene. So I feel like it's just that you're like the centre, the sun, and then all these musicians kind of operate around you.
I love that.
That's a compliment. Wow. Yeah. Nice. I love that.
I'm very fortunate to, you know, work with some serious artists, you know, kind of like stand alone, you know, no two ways about it, you know, and, you know, take their art, you know, to the heart, because it is art, you know. You know, we can't touch it, you know, we can't hold on to it, you know, but when we hear it, we feel it, and that's the art.
I love that you guys aren't like just like nailed down to this is the band, that's the genre, and this is what we do. I love the fact that it's always changing.
Yeah, well, we have our structures that we work with, you know, so we get that familiar sound. But it's like that freedom that each artist has to express themselves. You know, because the music is all about feeling, breathing. You know, it's like let it flow. You know, and go with it. And when you go with it, it has its own kind of like its own little journey in that 3, 4, 5 minutes, and it will come to completion, and then you begin something new.
Like an art.
Yeah.
So do you guys ever, like, any of you actually, ever get writer's block then, like working together? Because it just seems like writer's block fears you guys. It just must be like, no, it just happens every time.
You couldn't get writer's block with this band.
No, that's what I'm looking at you guys, I'm like, that must be impossible for you guys. It must always be finished.
I've been hired in the past to help writers and, you know, other artists to unlock that block.
That's so cool.
It for us, it's like, I mean, we just create and just get into that flow, and in that flow, then that opens up a lot of lyrical, kind of like for me. You know, I'm riding on that wave of music, and depending on what they're playing and what note they're playing it in and what key, you know, June, next thing you know, my imagination runs free.
Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to somebody recently about that, not just like about music and creativity, just life. Just let it flow. Like, there's such a good saying, right, which I'm obsessed with at the moment, and it's, you're never rejected, only redirected.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as rejection, only redirection. So I thought this is such an amazing thing. So it's not me that said this, but it's something else. Something's been passed through me, and I'm passing it on again. You know, that job you lost, not rejected, redirected. That girl that didn't like you, not rejected, redirected. So there's always another path in life to flow to. And I thought it was absolutely incredible. Music. So the final song, right?
Yeah, and this particular song, you know, I wish we could redirect the whole content of this in a completely different direction, but, you know, talk about real life and things, and, you know, in the world we live in, you know, and there's some hot spots around the world, you know, where there's a lot of conflict and killing and things like that. And this is our anti-war song.
Nice.
There's one thing about war is very up close and personal, and it will touch you. And when it does touch you, you will feel it, and you will never, ever be the same again. And it's not something that, well, it's all about people. And this song is about a girl named Joni.
Well, when you're ready, guys, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You can't remember me, I always remember you. Out of the many, one of the few. On the beach as children we did play. You laughed as you wiped my tears away. A year in Iraq, it won't be long, I'll be back. Before you know I'm gone. A year in Iraq, I'll be back. Before you know I'm gone. And with that commissary pay, I'll be a doctor someday. I'll save someone like Mom. I'll be a doctor someday. I'll save someone like Mom. I'll be back. Before you know I'm gone. Joni. My father, he died a drunken, broken man. He would cry, and he would say, oh, Joni, you died so far away. I couldn't make your dream to be a doctor someday. He would cry, and he would say, oh, Joni, you died in harm's way. I couldn't make your dream to be a doctor someday. He would cry, and he would say, oh, Joni, you died so far away. I couldn't pay to make your dream to be a doctor someday. And you died in harm's way. You can't remember me, I always remember you. You said you'd be back before I knew you were gone. You were gonna be a doctor someday. You were gonna save someone like Mom. Joni, Joni, Joni. You can't remember me.
Wow, guys. Joni playing for you on 517.6 for On Air Acoustic with MeU. Wow, man, your poetic storytelling, songwriting ways are just incredible. I feel so lucky to have you guys in the studio tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh man,
Really
it's such a this has been such a vibe, man. It has been such a vibe, man. We've only got like 5 minutes left, so I'm like, do we just go for another hour? Just keep playing songs, just keep going. Honestly, just
we're
wow.
a bit of a jukebox at times.
I'm happy.
These guys, and they fill the space so beautifully as they can help but float on it, ride on it, Yeah, it's the music, it's like...
Everyone's very lucky, guys. Everyone's very, very lucky to have you guys. So what's the summer looking like for you guys? We're in April now, summer season's coming, festival season's coming. What's it looking like for you guys?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And one of the things, Chris, that I've always wanted was my own venue. Mm-hmm. I've been working, in various venues forever, it seems, and always somebody else's. And believe you me, some of these guys and women and stuff who own these places, they've been great. But I've always had that aspiration of having my own. And so this summer, MeU headquarters down in Hastings on the coast.
Beautiful place.
Come down for a beach day out and MeU headquarters. You'll be hearing about it. Just ask somebody on the street. Say, do you know where MeU headquarters is? And before you know it, you'll be sitting right in front of me and I'll be entertaining you, doing what we do. So that's part of the summer. And of course going to try to get some gigs and get some festival things going, and these guys got some, individual little projects that they're pursuing. So all in all, the year has been a very good year so far. It's going really well, and I don't foresee anything up ahead. The fortune teller says clear sailing. 27, it's like it's going to be a good one. 26, but 25 is so alive.
Yes. Feel alive in 25.
It's going to be a good year.
So how's the album doing? So obviously it only just came out.
Yeah, not too bad. The vinyls, we sold about 40 of them. Giving away about 50. Not quite that many, but yeah, they're moving. Every time we do a performance, I sell 1 or 2 or 3. So in these long-term art projects, it's like, we're getting that turnover, Chris. And we're getting some good feedback, and hopefully a bit more. All subject to that promotion and that publicity and getting out and playing and, being heard, and, you have to kind of like, you gotta do it.
The fun part.
It's our social media, and, here I am, and watch what I'm having for breakfast. And, hey, look at my new hat. Check out my running. I'm getting healthy. Yeah. Me, it's armchair yoga. But we're this is what we do,
and we're very lucky.
Yeah, and we are, and we love doing it. And Dimitri, he's doing his little projects, and we're doing stuff together, and Rufus, and it's all gravitating forward, and that momentum. That gradual momentum. And there'll come a point where it'll be its own dynamo, and it'll just generate, that Electric Creativity.
Oh yeah. What are all your social medias, just to get it out there, where people can find you on social media? Where's all your music as well? How do we find you on Spotify and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, okay. You might have to put this in the notes. But you can find us on Instagram as Love All Me You, as in me, you, big capital U. So that's Love All Me You. And then on kind of like on Spotify, it's Me Equals You.
Nice. Perfect.
And we were discussing that a little bit earlier about how it can be a little tricky to find Me You on Spotify. And someone commented, said, yeah, only the real fans will find you, which is true. But, kind of like, you gotta pay attention to that little detail. It's one thing to be lost, and it's another thing to found. How can I find you? So something a little easier, but just between me, you, and the rest of the world, the chances are it's just going to stay the way it is.
Amazing. Well, look, guys, that is it. Unfortunately, we are out of time, because I could speak to you for another hour. Easily another hour. But again, thank you guys for coming in and sharing your talent. It's been incredible. And to everybody else who's listened, what a treat. How about we do it all again next week? So be here at the same time of 7 o'clock for Raw Vibes and 8 o'clock for On Air Acoustic.